It's time to wake up and open up the internet from 2004. What do you mean that's an impossible request? Here, I got it. There it is, like a snapshot in time of an old friend. What is that? It's like some kinda massively multiplayer online game. It's World of Warcraft! Oh, yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. Because this Blizzard Entertainment golden child wreaked havoc across the newly developed digital landscape of the early 2000s. It changed the way video games were played and began the painful birthing process of gaming culture into the mainstream. Oh god, has it been painful, but at least us nerds are finally starting to become cool. We did it, guys! Indeed, if you look once again at that portal to the 2004 internet that I opened up, you'll notice that during this time period, gamers are comparably way more stereotyped as geeks, nerds, and sexually frustrated loners with rage issues. Which maybe isn't entirely inaccurate, but I'll be damned if it wasn't grossly exaggerated by the mainstream cultural sheep of the time. Bah! Bah! Fuck you, every 11 o'clock newscaster ever. Bah! Okay, maybe they had a point partially, I don't know. But what if I told you that it's thanks to World of Warcraft that fine young men like these were revealed to the world for all to see? It's thanks to World of Warcraft that a generation of young people would push forth the video game paradigm in a way that had never been done before. The online frontier had yet to be tamed until an odd assortment of normal kids, shutaways, young adults, and awkward teenagers took to their keyboards and cum-stained office chairs to show the world what gaming was capable of. So pound down that energy drink, wipe your greasy hands on that nearby cat, and repulse at the screen glare caused by a sunny day. It's time to take in the story of this beautiful phenomenon. The story you never knew. Now, I'm sure some of you think I'm exaggerating. You may think that WoW hasn't been nearly big enough of a phenomenon to push gaming from neckbeardom into the more mainstream. You may think that the explosion in video game popularity this past decade was only a matter of time, and it isn't thanks to any games in particular that Kate Upton lended her assets to Game of War during the Super Bowl that one time. The numbers, though, they say otherwise. Just look at them! They're insane! According to Business Insider, by 2012, World of Warcraft had grossed $10 billion. That's $8.5 billion more than the closest non-arcade competitor at the time. And it doesn't stop there. In its lifetime, WoW has had a total of 100 million players from 244 countries. Have I convinced you that this game is a big deal yet? Great! Indeed, thanks to its groundbreaking gameplay experience, World of Warcraft had an appeal so wide that not even the jocks at your high school could ignore it. No longer were us geeks isolated and circle-jerking our nerdiness, for with the wide appeal of WoW came an influx of Chads and Brads that would cast the circle jerk into temporary chaos. By this, I mean World of Warcraft was the first video game to attract all walks of life, and keep them dedicated for hours, days, weeks, months, years on end. Suddenly, the realm of gaming became a melting pot instead of a single, overrepresented, rather nerdy demographic. How did Blizzard Entertainment create a game with such wide appeal? Let's dive into that, because only then will this video go from abstract gobbledygook to concrete, undeniable facts. World of Warcraft was a highly anticipated game due to the overwhelmingly positive reviews prior to its release. It sought to redefine many of the previously ingrained ideals of the role-playing genre by doing something that seems very simple: speeding it up. WoW differentiated itself from the competition by taking those pesky pauses in between gameplay and shortening them significantly. Oh, you got hurt real bad by itty-bitty boars? That's not a problem. Just run away and you'll regenerate health. Oh, those boars ended up killing you. Well, that's kind of a problem. But don't worry, you'll recover and respawn in no time. Before WoW, many MMORPGs would brutally penalize the player for poor performance. Understandably so. But Blizzard took a different approach. Those of you who have played EverQuest, an MMORPG released in 1999, know that the death penalty was pretty punishing. When you die, you lose everything on you, all of your equipment. If you're a badass and just degaff, good for you. But the remaining 99% of us have to go on a corpse run to get that equipment back, and you wouldn't always be able to get it back. Then on top of this, you would actually lose a good chunk of experience. It's like that nice homeless man you give money to every day, pulling out a gun and robbing you for everything you have, then kicking you in the balls while running away, singing neener 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 at the top of his lungs before running back to kick you in the balls one last time. Yeah, Blizzard kind of wanted to do the opposite of that with World of Warcraft. There are a few different ways WoW handles deaths. When you die, you get a slight durability reduction to all equipped items, and you can either resurrect at a graveyard for an additional penalty, or go on a ghost run to find your still warm corpse. Either way, when the adventure begins again, you don't have a bunch of existential anxiety due to all the time you would have wasted farming back your experience and searching for items to replace your lost equipment. Woo! And speaking of wasting time, what's your opinion on loading screens? Yeah, that's what I thought. Nobody likes them! Many MMORPGs of this time employed a loading zone tactic. Alright, Stiflers, loading zone tactic isn't actually a thing, but I made it up to get my point across here. MMORPGs typically opted to have zones within the continent of the map. So if you're in a city but have to go through a forest to complete a quest, there is a dividing line between these two zones where the game stops to load the new area. Hence the term loading zone tactic. World of Warcraft had a much different approach. We'll call this the moneymaker tactic. Blizzard created a world without this pesky loading screen. Each zone was independent of the others, yet connected by a singular continent. A player could simply walk from a city into the forest on its outskirts without any pause in the gameplay. This moneymaker tactic was one of the aspects that sucked people into the game. Players often became lost in the game. Not in the literal, this map is confusing, I'm so lost sense, but in the I haven't seen sunlight in 3 weeks sense. In fact, the map layout is the opposite of confusing. Each zone on the continent has a distinct look and feel to it, with a fluid blend into each of the other zones. Because of this clear layout, players very rarely got lost. Combine this with the cartoony, fantasy, yet slightly realistic art style, and you've got the foundation for an incredibly addicting game. A Soshi Games employee, Sean Butler, put it perfectly when he said it had a more toony feel to it than other games of the time. This brings it more into the mainstream and out of the arguably more geeky world of other MMOs of the time. These aspects of WoW, coupled with an engrossing story and the widespread availability of quests, allowed WoW to not only become popular in its own right, but to take center stage when it came to the introduction of gaming to the mainstream. No longer were video games an exclusive privilege of the nerds of the world. Now, we finally got to take a gander into the life of the oh-so-elusive, rarely seen neckbeard. The reclusive gamer who spends every waking hour of the day hidden in the shadows trying to be the very best. Kinda like Ash, except not dumb. The multiplayer party aspect of the game, no, not that type of party. Party as in group. The group party aspect of the game was necessary in order to complete some of the harder quests. Similar to real life, you had to band together with other players in order to accomplish common goals. Tactics for completing a quest revolved around all members of the party coming together to form a cohesive unit. I mean, you could try to go aggro and run in like a one-man army like this guy.
Alright, chums up.
Ready, guys?
Let's do this. Leroy Dragons!
But that typically doesn't work out too well. And so cooperation between all these walks of life led to an exchange of ideas and perspectives on a scale of millions of people, most of whom had the open-mindedness that comes with youth. Suddenly, the Chads and Brads needed to break bread with the geeks because they were the truest heroes of Azeroth, dedicating countless hours to the perfection of their WoW profile rather than doing the same for football or something stupid like that. In the World of Warcraft South Park episode, we see this fact of life playing out before our eyes. The greasy, kinda fat neckbeard guy who never goes outside is basically the LeBron James / Iron Man / Genghis Khan of Azeroth. Although this is clearly an exaggeration for satire purposes, this bit would not have resonated so deeply and caused so many laughs if it weren't at least partially true. So if the Chads and Brads wanted to kick ass, they had to respect the neckbeard. They had to work alongside the neckbeard. They had to become the neckbeard. These more mainstream people began to dip their toes or dive whole hog into nerd culture and bring it back into their personal lives, where, in turn, other not-so-gamer people were exposed to WoW and the gaming culture it came from. And that's not the only way that World of Warcraft helped video game culture grow into the more diverse behemoth it is today. Like, sure, it's still 80% dudes, but you gotta start somewhere, right? WoW also connected people from all different cultures in a very new way. In an article titled The Bizarre Phenomenon of World of Warcraft, a quote by the CEO of Sochi Games named Cliff Dennett says what I'm trying to say best. He says, "Picture virtual project teams from multiple cultures and in many countries who have never physically met, collaborating, working on complex strategic and tactical problems in real time using an IT system." Well said, Cliff! With people from so many different countries intermingling and having to problem solve together, video game playing got taken to the global scale. And sure, it was partially there in the first place thanks to earlier games like StarCraft and EverQuest, but nothing dug in like WoW. Nothing prompted global conversation about people dying from too much video game playing like WoW. Nothing had commercials with Mr. T and William Shatner like WoW. And that only scratches the surface of celebrities who've played WoW. Big names like Vin Diesel, Mila Kunis, Dave Chappelle, and others have been outspoken about their World of Warcraft escapades. And given the influence that celebrities have over culture worldwide, it's no wonder this addicting masterpiece was one of the huge initial injections of video game culture into mainstream society. The gentle beast that is World of Warcraft brought together all walks of life and spilled the innards of gaming culture into the mainstream. Without it, we may never have seen the Let's Players, streamers, esports competitors, and filthy casuals that we have become so accustomed to. And that's the story. You never knew. And let's not forget the dancing night elves that strip for money. That's been an interesting experiment in human sexuality. But that's a topic for another video. Now I know you want more super duper awesome videos to watch. Well, we got some of those. Click this clip of Cartman playing World of Warcraft to check out our South Park The Story You Never Knew. It won't disappoint. And considering you liked this video, you should definitely subscribe to our channel. Well, I don't want to be telling you what to do, but let's just say I'd highly recommend it. And would I ever steer you wrong? Well, yeah, I guess I would. If I was in a particularly bad mood that day. But I'm not steering you wrong here. Pinky promise. Thanks for watching, everyone.